99% of men never do this. And yet women find it absolutely unforgettable. Sounds dramatic? Maybe. But let's get real. How often do you meet a man who, on paper, has it all? He's confident, successful, even attractive. And yet, when it comes to building a deep emotional connection with a woman, he falls completely flat. Why? Because it's not about the surface. It's not about looks. It's not about money. And it's definitely not about how many clever lines he's memorized from a dating coach on YouTube. The truth is this. Most men miss the invisible, the quiet gestures, the subtle shifts in energy, the psychological cues that ignite a woman's attraction on a primal level. And once you understand these cues, everything changes. Today, I'm going to reveal 7 of these hidden behaviors, not pickup tricks, but primal triggers backed by behavioral science and sharpened by the wisdom of men who led through presence, not noise. These are the things women rarely say out loud, but feel deeply when a man embodies them. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll give you the one silent move that flips everything in your favor. And once you see it, you'll never look at attraction the same way again. But first, if you're serious about leveling up, about becoming the kind of man who doesn't chase but attracts, who doesn't beg for attention but commands respect, hit that like button, tap subscribe, and turn on notifications, because you're about to hear the quiet language women actually respond to. Secret 1. The power of touch. See? Picture this. You're on a date. The energy is flowing. She's laughing. You're vibing. You walk her to her car. You text her later, and then silence. No reply. No spark. Nothing moves forward. What happened? Most men assume it was something they said. A missed opportunity. A wrong word. But here's what most never understand. For women, connection isn't built through conversation alone. It's felt. And one of the most powerful, most overlooked ways to create that connection? Intentional, grounded touch. Not sexual. Not sleazy. Just present. Maybe it's a light hand on her lower back as you guide her through a door. Maybe it's a gentle, reassuring touch on her shoulder as you listen to her story. Or maybe, before intimacy, it's a slow, mindful massage, one that says you're safe, I'm here, you're seen. Because here's the psychological key. Women bond through comfort, not conquest. When a man touches her not to take something but to give presence, she relaxes. Her nervous system softens. Her trust builds. You don't need to be a massage therapist. You don't need a script. What matters is your intention. When you touch with awareness, not urgency, she feels it. As Marcus Aurelius said, don't waste time arguing what a good man should be, just be one. That's what 99% of men miss. They chase clever tactics, but the 1%, they embody presence. And that presence speaks louder than any pickup line ever could. Flirting with confidence, not desperation. Let's talk about flirting. Most men either come on too strong, trying to impress, trying to perform, or they freeze entirely, afraid of saying the wrong thing. Walking on eggshells. Both approaches fail, because women don't want to be won over. They want to feel your energy. They want to feel the calm tension, the playful confidence, the sense that you're not trying to get something. You're simply enjoying the moment with her. That's the difference. Say she mentions she loves sushi. The average guy will nod and say, "Oh, me too." The high-value man, he smiles, makes eye contact and says, "Sushi? Come on, clearly you haven't been to my spot yet." Playful, teasing. Just enough challenge to make it exciting, without trying too hard. It's not arrogance, it's poise. You're not auditioning, you're not performing. You're just being fully grounded in yourself. And that's rare. Because here's what she feels beneath the words. This man isn't seeking approval. He already has it. Flirting becomes easy when you stop chasing and start embodying calm masculine energy. The stoic man isn't shaken by silence. He doesn't need to fill the space with jokes or clever tricks. His power is in what he chooses not to say, and in the presence he brings to the room. Master that, and you'll notice something strange. Women start leaning in because your energy draws them in. Secret 3. Touching her hair at the right moment. Sounds simple, but when done with timing and intention, it's devastatingly powerful. The scalp is one of the most sensitive areas of the human body. A light, well-timed touch there doesn't just register physically, it registers emotionally. Picture this, you're in a deep conversation. She's laughing, her eyes are locked on yours, the warmth is building, a loose strand of hair falls across her cheek, And without saying a word, you gently brush it aside. Not rushed, not rehearsed, just right. She feels it, because that touch at that moment tells her everything without you having to explain a thing. But here's the catch. Timing is everything. You don't do it on date one. You don't do it when she's cold or unsure. You wait, you listen, you feel for the moment when the warmth is real, and then you act. Because that's what Stoicism teaches. Restraint, discipline, stillness before action. You don't move because you want to. You move because the moment calls for it. And when you respond with that kind of awareness, she remembers it for a long, long time. Secret 4. The hand on her back in public. To the average man, this gesture seems meaningless, maybe even unnecessary, but to a woman, it speaks volumes. You're walking through a crowd. You step slightly ahead to open a door. As she walks through, your hand rests for just a second on the small of her back. Calm, centered, not possessive, just protective. That one move says, I've got you. You're safe. I'm here. And here's the fascinating part. She may not even consciously register it, but her subconscious does. Instantly, because her nervous system is tuned to interpret those quiet signs of leadership, calm control, and presence. Most men miss this moment. They're either too hesitant to show confidence or too forceful, trying to dominate instead of protect. The key is in the balance. You're not touching her to control. You're not touching her to seduce. You're touching her to lead, with calm intention. And in a world of noise, distraction, and shallow masculinity, that kind of quiet composure, it's magnetic. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, waste no more time talking about what a good man should be one. I've reached the character limit for this response. Secret 5. Being her protector in the small moments. Let's be clear. Modern women don't need rescuing. They don't need a man to charge in like a knight in shining armor. They're strong, independent, capable. But that doesn't mean they don't want to feel safe, especially in the small, often unnoticed moments that reveal a man's character. She doesn't need a hero. She needs a steady presence. Here's what that looks like in the real world. You speak up when someone tries to talk over her in a group setting. Not with aggression, but with quiet strength. You walk her to her car after a long evening. Not because she's helpless, but because she matters. You step closer when she's uncomfortable, not to shield her, but to anchor her with your calm. You don't need to bark orders, you don't need to prove anything, you simply stay grounded. Observant, responsive, you don't overreact, you just show up. This kind of energy, unshaken, quietly alert, it builds a level of trust that loud, performative men will never earn. Because while others posture and compete, you create emotional safety without ever raising your voice. As Epictetus put it, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And when you react with calm grace, when your response to chaos is clarity, she feels it. She relaxes into your energy, because in a world filled with noise and unpredictability, a man who offers peace is unforgettable. Secret 6. The psychological pull of it. This one is subtle, but when used with care, it creates emotional intimacy that compliments can't touch. Next time you're texting her or sitting across from her on a quiet night, say this, "You know what? I had the strangest dream about you last night." Then pause, let it land. Her curiosity will ignite instantly. She'll lean in, ask, "What was it about?" Now here's the key. Don't make it a fantasy. Don't make it cheesy. Keep it grounded, soft, subtle. Say something like, "I don't remember all the details, just that we were sitting in some little cafe, talking about life. It felt good, that's all. No pressure, no agenda, just presence." And what you've just done, you've placed her inside your subconscious. You've let her know that she's been on your mind, not intentionally, not by force, but naturally, without effort. And for a woman, that is incredibly rare. Because it's not flattery, it's emotional resonance. You're not performing, you're not trying to manipulate, you're creating space for her to feel something, and she will. This is where the Stoic man shines, not by chasing, but by creating gravity, by pulling her into his world without saying a word too many. You've just painted a feeling, and that feeling lingers. Secret 7. The beard effect. Now let's finish with something most men overlook as purely cosmetic, the beard. It may seem like a style choice, an aesthetic, just facial hair, but psychologically, it's a trigger, a primal one. Throughout history, kings, philosophers, warriors, thinkers, what did they share? A presence that didn't require words. And yes, a beard was part of that identity. Not just for looks, but for what it signaled. Modern studies show that women associate facial hair with strength, wisdom, and dependability. It frames the jawline, deepens expression, adds gravity to presence. But it only works when it's intentional. A sloppy beard? That signals laziness. A well-groomed one? That signals discipline. And that's the lesson, even if you can't grow one, because it's not about the hair. It's about your presentation, your self-respect, your order. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. How you carry yourself on the outside reflects your inner structure. And that kind of inner order, it speaks louder than any words you could say. Even in silence, the disciplined man is noticed. The 7 primal triggers that most men miss. Let's bring it all together. A gentle, non-sexual touch before intimacy builds trust and emotional grounding. Flirting with calm confidence, not desperation, invites her into your energy. A well-timed hair touch says more than compliments ever could. A simple hand on her back in public signals presence, not control. Protecting her in small, unseen ways builds unshakable trust. Mentioning a dream places her emotionally close without pressure. A well-groomed presence, beard or not, triggers primal respect. These aren't tactics, they're reflections of who you are becoming. You don't need to try these. You need to embody them. Because the top 1% of men, they don't chase validation, they don't perform. They lead with presence, with poise, with silence that carries weight. So now ask yourself, will you walk through the world like most men, blind to what actually creates connection? Or will you master what few ever will? If this resonated with you, if something in these words made you sit up straighter, breathe deeper, and realize there's a higher standard to rise to, then drop a comment below. Tell me which part struck a chord. Hit that like button to push this message further. Tap subscribe and turn on notifications, because this isn't just a video, it's a path, a philosophy. This channel is for men who aren't interested in gimmicks, who don't want surface-level dating hacks, who want to build depth, power, and quiet influence that lasts. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and remember this: true power doesn't shout, it stands still, and everything else moves around it.